HR guy here from recruitmentselectionprocess.com, and today we're talking about reference checks. Reference checks, they get such a bad rap by some people. Some people will tell you that they're just not worth doing. And I remember when I did my HR degree as a mature age student and did the recruitment subject, and the lecturer in the recruitment subject even said, don't bother doing reference checks. And I thought, oh boy, if only you knew how often reference checks get me out of a pickle. Working in the industry, I've lost count over the years how many times a reference check has come up with something that was a deal breaker. And that's the point of reference checks, is it's usually at the last part of the process. You've interviewed this person, they say all the right things, they look like they're going to be the person that you're going to make an offer to, and then lo and behold, something will come out in the reference check that will give you second thoughts. And it doesn't happen often, thankfully, if you've done the rest of the process correctly, but it's your safety net, really. And I'll swear by reference checks, so long as they keep providing those sort of results every now and again. So why is it that some people don't think reference checks are worthwhile doing and some people do? Well, I suspect it's because some people aren't doing reference checks correctly, and if you're not doing them correctly, they're probably not worth doing. So what makes a good reference check? Well, in my opinion, a reference check should have three key ingredients. You should be A, talking to the right person, B, asking the right questions, and C, using the right attitude when you go into it. So let's step through those one at a time. The right referee. A referee should be someone who can speak with confidence and give you honest appraisal and feedback about that person's performance, their attitude, their skills, and their deficiencies, and so on. A lot of people, a lot of applicants will try and give you a referee who is a family friend or a colleague, and frankly, there's just no point talking to those people. I'm sure they'll have nothing but good things to say, but that's not the point of a reference check. The point of a reference check is to get good, honest feedback, warts and all, about this person. And that's why you need to speak to either their current manager, or if that's not possible, a recent manager in the past. And really, there might be genuine reasons why an applicant can't give you the current manager's details to talk to. It's often difficult in that circumstance, but unless they're new to the workforce, there's no excuse really for them not to be able to give you a previous manager or supervisor, or someone who is in a position of authority over that person, who can give you an honest assessment. So the right referee, if you're not talking to the right person, really you're wasting your time, and worse still, you're going to give yourself a false sense of confidence that you've just done a reference check. But if it's with a friend or a colleague, you haven't really done a work-based reference check. The second part is the key, is making sure that you have the right questions for the referee. A lot of people, a lot of agencies included, will go through a checklist of, say, 20 questions, tick and flick, and you know, to me, I think it's a bit of overkill. I prefer less is more. Particularly for your general roles, your entry-level roles, there's really no need to go into more than, say, 10 questions, and that gives you an opportunity then to explore a little bit more detail with each of those answers, but not have the referee get stroppy because you're wasting their valuable time repeating questions. The right questions too, if they're asked in the right way, they'll elicit a response that is more conversational. So don't ask yes/no questions. Ask questions about, can you describe what their attitude with customers is like? What's some areas that you think they might need more development? Ask open-ended questions, and you'll find that the referee will actually open up more, and they'll give you more information, and probably some of your questions will get answered before you've even had a chance to ask them. That's a sign of a good reference check. There are more resources on recruitmentselectionprocess.com as far as templates for reference checks, so go over there and help yourself to those. But what I want to just point out is I don't do a single reference check without the golden question at the very end. What's the golden question? This is the golden question. If you had a position come up, hypothetically, and this person applied, would you re-employ them? This question at the end of your reference check will elicit those surprise responses. I've had so many referees give great answers, glowing responses about an applicant. And when I ask this last question, there's a hesitation. And when there's a hesitation, that's when you've got to dig a little deeper and say, look, I noticed you paused then. Is there something that, I haven't asked you about? What was the pause? And go off the record if you have to, if that makes the referee more comfortable giving you an answer. But, that's the question really. If an ex-employee is not willing, hypothetically, to re-employ somebody, you really need to ask yourself, do I want to take them on board my company? It's surprising how often there's a pause and how often that last question will come up with something interesting that you're glad you asked. So that's the right questions. Again, go over to recruitmentselectionprocess.com and there's templates there and example questions. The last key ingredient to doing a reference check is the attitude. And we've sort of covered on this a little bit, but a good reference check shouldn't be an interview in itself. It should be a conversation. The more comfortable the referee is talking to you, the more comfortable they will be giving you this important information. That's what you want. You're not trying to grill them or interrogate them. You're not trying to go through a survey like you're some sort of telephone marketer. You're having a conversation with somebody whose input you respect and value, and that's what you've got to get across. Just like when you're doing an interview, the more open that the person is with you, the more you'll get out of the process. Go into it with the right attitude, respect their time, respect their input, and listen carefully. When there's things there that they say that you think, might need to ask a follow-up question on that one, make sure you do. Don't just follow a checklist like some sort of robot. So I guess that's the 3 ingredients. Make sure you're speaking to the right person, make sure you're asking the right questions, and go into it with the right attitude. Are reference checks worth doing? I think they're worth doing. They've pulled me out of a bind on numerous occasions over the years. When you come across that person who says all the right things, they look like the perfect applicant, and then you do a reference check and you find out there's some sort of honesty issue, or there's a drug issue, or the person doesn't bother showing up to work on time half the time. All of those little things that will stop you from recruiting the wrong person. And remember, reference checks are typically the last stage of your recruitment process, so think of it as a really important safety net just to stop you from getting one of those wolves in sheep's clothing. So look, that's about it for reference checks today. I hope you've got something out of it. If you've got any questions, make sure you put them in comments. If you've got anything out of today, I'd appreciate if you hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and there'll be more great content on its way. And for more great resources on doing your own recruitment selection process, go over to recruitmentselectionprocess.com. This is HR Guy wishing you well. Thank you for your time.